A evaporator employs an annular downtake. A basket type. B horizontal. C long tube vertical. D none of these. The correct answer is basket type. Radiation heat losses from satisfactorily insulated high-pressure boiler may be about %. A1, B7, C18, D26. The correct answer is 7. In natural convection heat transfer, the correlating parameter is the A. Gray's number, B. Kate number, C. Grasshopper number, D. Bond number. The correct answer is Grasshopper number. Boiling of milk in an open vessel is an example of boiling. A. Film, B. Subcooled, C. Saturated nucleate, D. None of these. The correct answer is film. Pick out the wrong statement. A. In process heat exchangers, saturated steam is preferred over the superheated steam. B. The maximum is the emissive power of a surface at a temperature T1 occurs at a wavelength of 1. If the surface temperature is halved, the maximum in the emissive power would occur at a wavelength of 0.51. C. When a vertical plate is heated in infinite air environmental under natural convection conditions, the velocity profile in air normal to the plate exhibits a maximum. D. A body at 925 K emits an energy of 1.42 x 1011 watts. M2 is the Stefan-Boltzmann constant in the wavelength band between 3 m to 4 m. The fraction of this energy in the total energy emitted over the entire wavelength range is equal to emissivity. The correct answer is the maximum is the emissive power of a surface at a temperature T1 occurs at a wavelength of 1. If the surface temperature is halved, the maximum in the emissive power would occur at a wa. Mode of heat transfer involved in the cooling of air-cooled internal combustion engine is A. Conduction, B. Natural convection, C. Forced convection, D. None of these. The correct answer is natural convection. Steady-state one-dimensional heat flow by conduction as given by Fourier's law does not assume that A. There is no internal heat generation, B. Boundary surfaces are isothermal, C. Material is anisotropic, D. Constant temperature gradient exists. The correct answer is material is anisotropic. The left face of a one-dimensional slab of thickness 0.2 m is maintained at 80 C and the right face is exposed to air at 30 C. The thermal conductivity of the slab is 1.2 watts m.K and the heat transfer coefficient from the right face is 10 watts m2.K. At steady state, the temperature of the right face in C is A. 77.2, B. 71.2, C. 63.8, D. 48.7. The correct answer is 48.7. In a shell and tube heat exchanger, the shell side fluid velocity cannot be changed by changing the A. Tube layout, B. Tube diameter, C. Tube pitch, D. No of baffles. The correct answer is tube diameter. To reduce the tube side pressure drop for the same flow rate, the heat exchanger recommended is A. 1-2 heat exchanger, B. 1-1 heat exchanger, C. 3-2 heat exchanger, D. 2-4 heat exchanger. The correct answer is 1-1 heat exchanger. Heat transfer coefficient H for a fluid flowing inside a clean pipe is given by this is valid for the value of Henry equal to A. 2100, B. 2100, 4000, C. 4000, D. 10,000. The correct answer is 10,000. Steam side heat transfer coefficient in an evaporator is in the range of Cul HR.m2c. A 1050, B 100 500, C 1000 1500, D 5000 1500. The correct answer is 5000 1500. Correction is applied to LMTD for flow. A parallel, B counter, C cross, D none of these. The correct answer is cross. If H1 inner film coefficient and H2 outer film coefficient, then the overall heat transfer coefficient is A always less than H1, B always between H1 and H2, C always higher than H2, D dependent on metal resistance. The correct answer is always between H1 and H2. 1 kg of water at 0 C is changed to superheated steam of 1 atm pressure and 300 C. The major heat consumption in the process will be to A. Heat the water from 0 C to 100 C. B. Evaporate the water. C. To superheat the steam. D. Data insufficient, can't be predicted. The correct answer is evaporate the water. For Prandtl number values, the heat conduction will be negligible in the buffer zone. A. Extremely low, B. Low, C. High, D. No. The correct answer is high. The radiation heat flux from a heating element at a temperature of 800 C in a furnace maintained at 300 C is 8 kW m2. The flux when the element temperature is increased to 1000 C for the same furnace temperature is A. 11.2 kW m2, B. 12.0 kW m2, C. 14.6 kW m2, D. 16.5 kW m2. The correct answer is 16.5 kW m2. Heat exchangers operating when the asymptotic range is reached. A. Provide very large heat transfer coefficient. B. Results in making part of the heating surface inactive. C. Results in abruptly increased velocity. D. None of these. The correct answer is results in making part of the heating surface inactive. In case of a shell and tube heat exchanger, the minimum and maximum baffle spacing is respectively where D. Inside diameter of the shell. A. D5 and D. B. D2 and 2D. C. D4 and 2D. D. D and 2D. The correct answer is D5 and D. In case of heat transfer by conduction in a hollow cylinder, mean area is used to calculate the heat transfer rate. A. Geometric, B. Arithmetic, C. Logarithmic, D. Either A, B or C. The correct answer is logarithmic. In a gas-liquid shell and tube heat exchanger, the A. presence of a non-condensable gas decreases the condensing film coefficient. B. Gases under high pressure are routed through the tube side because high pressure gases are corrosive in nature. C. Gases to be heated cooled is normally routed through the shell side because the corrosion caused by the cooling water or steam condensate remain localized to the tubes. D. All ABC. The correct answer is all ABC. Which is the most suitable for the concentration of foamy frothy liquors? A. Agitated film evaporator. B. Long tube vertical evaporator. C. Open pan evaporator. D. None of these. The correct answer is long tube vertical evaporator. Boiling point elevation of an ideal solution. A. Increases rapidly with temperature rise. B. Decreases rapidly with temperature rise. C. Independent of pressure. D. Both B and C. The correct answer is increases rapidly with temperature rise. The rate of heat transfer is a product of overall heat transfer coefficient, the difference in temperature, and the A. Heating volume, B. Heat transfer area, C. Nusselt number, D. None of these. The correct answer is heat transfer area. Which of the following has the lowest overall heat transfer coefficient? A. Dowtherm. B. Molten sodium. C. Water. D. Air. The correct answer is air. Which of the following has the minimum absorptivity? A. Aluminium foil. B. Coal dust. C. Refractory bricks. D. Iron plates. The correct answer is aluminium foil. A black body when hot emits heat radiation of wavelengths. A. Small. B. Large. C. All. D. One fixed. The correct answer is all. A composite wall consists of two plates A and B placed in series normal to the flow of heat. The thermal conductivities are Ka and Kb and the specific heat capacities are Cpa and Cpb for plates A and B respectively. Plate B has twice the thickness of plate A. At steady state the temperature difference across plate A is greater than that across plate B when A Cpa Cpb, B Cpa Cpb, Ck is 0.5 kb, Dk is 2 kb. The correct answer is K is 0.5 kb. Vibrations in the tubes of a shell and tube heat exchanger is induced due to the A. Flow of fluid on the tube and shell sides. B. Oscillations in the flow of shell tube sides fluid. C. Vibrations transmitted through piping and or supports due to external reasons. D. All A, B and C. The correct answer is all A, B and C. Heat transfer by conduction in the turbulent core of a fluid flowing through a heated pipe is negligible if the value of Prandtl number is A 0.2, B 0.4, C 0.6, D 0.8. The correct answer is 0.6. The Nusselt number for fully developed both thermally and hydrodynamically laminar flow through a circular pipe whose surface temperature remains constant is A 1.66, B 88.66, C 3.66, D dependent on Henry only. The correct answer is 3.66. Sensible heat of hot industrial flue gases cannot be recovered by an A. Economizer, B. Regenerator, C. Ceramic recuperator, D. None of these. The correct answer is none of these. The critical radius of insulation for a spherical shell is where K. Thermal conductivity of insulating material H0 heat transfer coefficient at the outer surface. A. KH0, B. 2KH0, C. H0K, D. H02K. The correct answer is 2KH0. Radiator of an automobile engine is a type of heat exchanger. A. Co-current, B. cross-current, C. counter-current, D. direct contact. The correct answer is direct contact. In pipe flow heat is transferred from hot wall to the liquid by A. conduction only, B. forced convection only, C. forced convection and conduction, D. free and forced convection. The correct answer is forced convection and conduction. The value of Stefan Boltzmann constant in SI unit is A. 5.6697 x 10^8 watts m2, K4, B. 0.1714 x 10^8 watts m2, K4, C. 5.6697 x 10^8 kilocalories m2, K4, D. 0.1714 x 10^8 kilocalories m2, K4. The correct answer is 5.6697 x 10^8 watts m2, K4. The unit of heat transfer coefficient is A. BTU/HR, feet to floor, B. BTU/HR, F feet, C. BTU/HR, F D. BTUHR. Feet. The correct answer is BTUHR. Feet to floor. For turbulent flow in a tube, the heat transfer coefficient is obtained from the Dittus-Boelter correlation. If the tube diameter is halved and the flow rate is doubled, then the heat transfer coefficient will change by a factor of A1, B 1.74, C 6.1, D 37. The correct answer is 6.1. The inner wall of a furnace is at a temperature of 700 C. The composite wall is made of two substances 10 and 20 cm thick with thermal conductivities of 0.05 and 0.1 W.M1, C1 respectively. The ambient air is at 30 C and the heat transfer coefficient between the outer surface of wall and air is 20 W.M2, C1. The rate of heat loss from the outer surface in W.M2 is A 165.4, B 167.5, C 172.5, D 175. The correct answer is 165.4. Value of Nusselt number nu HDK for the heat transfer by conduction from a droplet or a spherical particle to a surrounding stagnant film is A 0.5, B 2, C 10, D 100. The correct answer is 2. Low thermal conductivity of heat insulating materials is due to its A. dense structure, B. high proportion of air space, C. high specific heat, D. none of these. The correct answer is high proportion of air space. The most conducive surface for dropways condensation to occur is the surface A. coated, B. oily, C. glazed polished, D. smooth. The correct answer is oily. In an interface heat transfer process, the equilibrium state corresponds to equality of temperature in the two phases, while the condition for equilibrium in an interface mass transfer process is equality of A. concentrations, B. chemical potentials, C. activity coefficients, D. mass transfer coefficients. The correct answer is concentrations. Carbon analogy is applicable for the value of Prandtl number from A 0.001 to 1, B 0.6 to 120, C 0.5 to 5, D 120 to 400. The correct answer is 0.6 to 120. Pick out the correct equation. AJ8 cent PR23F2, BJ8 cent PR13F2, CJ8 street 23 PRF2, DJ8 street 13 PRF2. The correct answer is J8 cent PR23F2. Multiple effect evaporators A are used to A. increase the steam economy, decrease the capacity, B. increase the steam economy, the capacity, C. decrease the steam economy, the capacity, D. decrease the steam economy, increase the capacity. The correct answer is increase the steam economy, the capacity. Small-scale evaporation is done in A. heat exchanger, B. condenser, C. multiple effect evaporator, D. steam-jacketed kettle. The correct answer is steam-jacketed kettle. Heat exchanger tubes are never made of A. plain carbon steel, B. stainless steel, C. lead, D. copper. The correct answer is lead. At constant temperature, the thermal conductivities of gases with rise in pressure A. decrease, B. increase, C. remain unchanged, D. may increase or decrease, depends on the pressure. The correct answer is decrease.